was a bit. We'll talk a bit more about VIP management in a bit, because obviously that's a bone of contention, at least in the UK. I'm just interested that you're being modest now, but you told at the job interview, you told them that you'd be head of marketing before you finished. Now, was that bravado, or was that genuine self-belief?
A lot of it comes down to my sporting background. Well, I've never been the best, but I've always been a trier. And growing up, it's not like we wanted or we lacked anything, but we didn't come from money. I can never have gone to private education without a scholarship, for example. So I've always kind of aiming to stay. I'm competitive and like to try and prove people wrong. And the guy who was interviewing me was a really kind of an obnoxious guy, and I could feel the tension straight away. And it just kind of made me want it even more. And even when I was VIP manager, he started arguing with the head of VIP managers to say, right, I want Yoni now. And it became like an argument in the office, and quite a big one, where the CEO had to get involved and say, listen, he needs to go to do marketing. And I did remind him of that time, and he was actually, my boss for a good amount of years. I reminded him quite a lot as we became friendly that, remember at the beginning you didn't want me, and you didn't think I had a chance. And at our peak, especially when America closed, the European market and especially the UK market, this was in 2006, became predominant for us because we were 90% a USA facing business. So within 24 hours, we had to change the whole focus of our business to start targeting Europe, Asia, and again, it's not how it is today. We're talking about 12, 13 years ago. It was still very desktop based. There was no mobile. A lot of it was done on email and ICQ. The conferences were much smaller. They were held in dining rooms, not in huge exhibition centers. So obviously the market's evolved, but there was always, I would always work harder and longer than anyone else, especially because I really wanted to prove my boss, who was French, which didn't help matters, prove him wrong. And in the end, it was a huge success, and the company did very well from it, and I built a decent career out of it as well.
Okay, now you went on to become the VIP manager, as you've already told us with the story. And that's one of the parts of the industry that's under real scrutiny in the UK at the moment. Can you sort of explain the role and the types of people that might become VIPs?
So again, I think it's important to state that back then is not how it is now, in terms of the regulation and the gambling commission, the restrictions that companies have, and the ability to interact with potential VIPs is extremely limited to compare what it was back then. And then there was no regulation. The sole purpose was to get as much money as possible, and you would look for patterns or trends in their betting or in their deposits. You look at the methods they use to deposit, whether it be credit cards or more sophisticated methods. If they had online wallets back then, you would know that they are more experienced to spending money online. If they didn't get declined from their banks. And our aim and our role was to A, keep them with us as long as possible, and B, to increase their bet sizes. If their bet sizes on average were $50 or $20 a spin or $100 on roulette or blackjack, you would say to them, and I see that you're having a good time, blah blah. Here, have another 100 or have 200 and put it on for me. And you kind of get them into the habit of spending more money, and you kind of give them 200, which is complimentary, but they think, hey, you know what, I'll stick with the 200, and you've already doubled your revenue, and the payout's the same payout, so that the house will win eventually. So it's kind of twofold. You're looking for the trends to try and spot them early, and once you get them, you want to try and keep them as long as possible and try and increase them. And you do that through VIP levels, for example. At the moment, you're VIP 9. To get to VIP 10, you just need to spend this amount each month. And VIP 10 will get you, I don't know, vouchers for a spa or whatever it may be.
Okay, so then by the age of 24, you're managing all of Europe apart from France, and you relocated to London, and you've got like a driver and a cook. I mean, at 24, was that quite, and I assume there's a few quid rolling in as well. I mean, was that quite hard to keep your feet on the ground?
So the CEO came to me one day, and again, the business back then was booming, and it was much easier than it was. And the UK was always kind of seen as the golden goose at that time. You know, like the Gambling Commission, the Gambling Act hadn't yet been enforced. It was a bit of the unknown, but you had big brands there making big money, public limited companies. So my boss came to me literally one day and said, right, you know, how do you fancy opening up an office in London? I was like, sure, you know, I'm English, it's easy for me, get back to see my family, my friends, I love it. He said, right, what do you need? I said, just give me a place to stay, an office, and we'll see how it goes. I said, you know, what's the purpose? And he goes, don't worry, just go there, you'll understand the purpose. You know, again, similar to how I moved to Israel, I was kind of, what have I got to lose? Let's go for it. Flew on a private jet for the first time, my first journey over. Had no idea where I was going to. From what I understood, I was staying in a hotel for the first couple of nights, but picked up by a driver. I was with my CEO, picked up by a driver who took me to a place in central London on Hyde Park Corner. Stunning building. I look up, I'm like, you know, what is this? Stunning, beautiful, grade 1 listed building. I walk in, you know, the driver opens a door out to a Phantom, Bentley Phantom, opens a door which opens the other way. I get out and there's people inside the building just standing. I'm like, hi everyone. Hi, I'm Mika, I'm your cleaner. Hi, I forgot the names, but I'm the doorman. Hi, I'm Thingy, I'm your cook. I'm like, you know, what's going on here? And I look inside this building and it's magnificent, you know, big white staircases with red carpet and huge ceilings, as you would expect for a grade 1 listed building overlooking Buckingham Palace. And Mika, I'll always remember Mika, she came and showed me to my room, and it was, I thought it was a room, it was a 2-bedroom flat with fully furnished. And for my bedroom, it was overlooking Buckingham Palace Gardens. And I'm thinking, I'm going to have a great time here. You know, I turn to my boss and go, what's going on? He goes, all this is yours. You know, you're going to open up a company, open up a site, a gambling site. It was actually a bingo site back then, that then became a casino. And he goes, I want you to buy the whole internet. I want you to make sure that everyone knows who you are, and buy every single player you can. I was like, okay, fine, that sounds easy. So I set up the office, you know, with very little experience, but it kind of evolved. And we started bringing in players and bringing in traffic. And I was having a good time, you know, whining and dining all the clients, all the affiliates, and kind of got my name out there. But still, people would come to the office and be in shock. You know, you're a 24-year-old kid. What is this? What is going on? Are you a drug dealer? Or, you know, how have you come to this situation? And again, it was another part of my life that was taught me a lot about myself. Because again, I never would have thought that I could go through with that process and build something that would be a relative success, and you know, have meetings and have a work ethic that would be work non-stop. And it was fantastic. And you know, it's a story that will live with me forever. To have all of that in my fingertips, and to build a business and to build my reputation in the UK, was magnificent. And it just had a great time with affiliates, with clients, have become friends. You know, some of my closest friends now, people that I met back then, people have gone on to be a success. And it's, you know, it really is a once in a lifetime opportunity that I grasped with both hands.
Okay, now you were part of the Playtech William Hill merger. What way were you involved with that?
So because I was buying the whole internet, and the name kind of got out there of who we were and who was our backer. One day, someone from some William Hill contacted us and asked to do a marketing deal, for us to help them with marketing. They came to our office, we met with them, and I phoned my boss. I go, listen, you know, William Hill are here. You know, I'm not quite sure how they've ended up here, but there's a chance that we could help them with marketing. And it's kind of then when the penny dropped, my boss kind of said, your job is done, leave it to us. And that's how the discussion started to come about between some very high powered people at Playtech and some very high people and skillful people at William Hill. And at the time, it was the largest joint venture in gambling. Obviously, it's been dwarfed by the likes of Flutter and all the others. But back then, it was groundbreaking. It was taking a predominant retail business online. We were working under the stewardship of Ralph Topping, who was a phenomenal CEO with great tradition, great history, great foresight, to drive the business to basically, I mean, when we met him, he wanted to overtake Labrooks, but we did that and more. And it was a groundbreaking deal, trying to merge not only two companies but two different cultures, which was difficult. But yeah, that was the first stone.
And you made some groundbreaking deals with the likes of the Sun and the Racing Post and Odds Checker you mentioned to me. In what way were they groundbreaking at the time?
It was our mentality. We were online marketeers. We always tried to have a monetary value to every click, impression, everything that we believe that could be judged for whether it be how much it's costing you for that user, how much revenue you're making. And back then, that model wasn't really in place with some of the larger brands, some of the larger media owners, where they were happy taking flat fees just to be there. And we tried to incorporate the idea that they can become a partner in the revenues that were being generated from the players. Someone like the Racing Post is one of the largest affiliates, or was at the time. And we had to try and integrate that mentality or that mindset that you can actually earn in more than just a flat fee. And if you're a partner or you have an invested interest in this deal succeeding, you will then go above and beyond to give us best positions or first opportunities. And it didn't work with everyone, but with some people it did, and it was a great success. Even Odds Checker back then, it wasn't the Odds Checker today owned by Sky. It was an affiliate, pure and simple. Two guys working out of a very small office in South London, I believe it was. So again, I come back to the difference in culture, where we brought our mentality, our marketing mentality that we've evolved in the .com market for the past 4 or 5 years, and brought it to these large media owners. And we had a lot of successful partnerships with the likes of the Sun when we sponsored the Dream Team, or ITV when we sponsored the South African World Cup, the Racing Post, Odds Checker, JC magazines, other newspapers. We worked with a lot of them.
Okay, so it all went a bit peak tong in 2007 when there was the walkout. Can you just briefly tell us how that panned out?
So there was always a conflict of interest between what was good for the retail side of the business and William Hill. They were 70-odd%, and the Playtech side of the business, which was just the online. And I think it just, the people at the top just kind of came to a disagreement about where budget should be spent, and I think it just kind of spiraled out of control. And we were in essence in the middle. I mean, there were 7 of us. We were the key employees, and we were kind of just following orders. We were Playtech people. Our bonuses were based on online performance. And as much as we enjoyed working with the PLC guys and the retail guys, and we did some great work, I just think eventually both companies did very, very well out of it. The walkout, I believe, was very unfortunate, and in hindsight, probably should have been handled differently from both sides. Again, it was an experience. It's something that we all learnt from, and both companies did very, very well from it eventually. When William Hill bought Playtech's stake from the company, and I've since seen a lot of the guys at William Hill, and the relationship is still good. With the likes of the CEO at the time, Henry Birch, and Ralph. But it was another interesting period that you think to yourself, how are you in this situation? You've gone from trying to play football to in the army, working in a bar, being typing on ICQ, going to Antigua, and suddenly you're part of what was at the time a real scandal. But it all did get resolved. We sadly had to leave the company, me and the 6 other key employees. We had to leave, which meant that we forfeited a lot personally to walk away from the company. but it was what it was, and everyone went on to do other things and succeed. And when you look back at it, you do kind of laugh.